were a strong side Jax where you need to dump resources, Pun would not be receiving a damn thing from Drakthar from the rest of the team. Let's be real about that. This is the weakest side player that you could possibly have. Froggy was in very, very risky situation right there for a 10th of a second, walking into nearly 4 members sitting in a brush. Thankfully, you had the sense to not walk into potential range for a root coming through from Ron OP. By the way, also, Ron OP, no longer on a melee champion, sitting on the Lux now. This is typically a Huber thing, so I'm excited to see what Ron OP's got for us in this one.
If I remember correctly, his Lux was actually quite good, so let's see how he performs here. Lux against Karma is a matchup where a lot is about auto-spacing, a lot is about movement and how you dodge abilities, so I would naturally favor Taki, who has better hands, but let's see how they can make use of this Caitlyn Lux lane that everyone knows is so oppressive and so hard to deal with. Taki, a little bit of alcove gaming here, wants to get the upper hand at level 1 with better positioning.
So, assumably because that ward went down in the middle, they know that there's no counter ward, so they would be able to walk forward, but I'm not sure if that was actually caught by Taki or by anybody else on the bottom side. And maybe the alcove attempt, I thought he was going to try to wrap around an airbrush knowing that there was no ward put down in the middle, but he might have been afraid that they just put a shallow ward in that brush, so maybe that's why. Pun is just hands checking Hosmed from day 1 of the laning phase. And a good Q coming out from Hosmed just to try to get a little bit of damage back. Level 2 gets a bit better. Level 3 gets even better because that's when you start to get like the hyper procs. That's when you get your E, so it's a little bit harder to hit counter strikes and things like that. So Hosmed just going to feel the wrath of the counter strike at level 1, one of the best kind of melee champions in the game when that ability's up. And Pun has traded back a lot of health for this.
Yeah, I'm here for this trading because now both are in very perilous spots here. Whoever gets the first jump, whoever gets the first stun on this level 2 power spike, especially with Mega now coming up. Oh wow. Look at bot lane.
Immediate play into the he's dead. There's nothing else to be done. Okay. I don't know how exactly that got set up. If I had to take a wild guess, it was just level 2. Taki said, I'm going to press W, and Ron OP couldn't get anything. Actually, didn't even have to flash for Taki to make sure that root came through. It was the follow-up flash from Shogun to make sure that the kill went through. But 3 summoners burnt on the side of Cerberus here as bot lane dominance, right back to Saigon.
Yeah, and Taki proving to us that he's the better enchanter player. Nice disengage from Hosmed there. He's a level down, so he can't really trade back, even though he does look kind of scary on this big Meganar. Take another look. Taki just walking up. Run of he was there. Yeah.
He puts a ward down and just presses W, and that's how Ron OP dies.
Yeah, Ron OP maybe had to wake up a little earlier, because that looked like he was completely asleep. Just stared at the ward, and then half a second later the W comes in, and he's still not flashing away.
For a second there, I think he was like, I'm Alistar, I'm going to press W and I'm going to headbutt Pulverize. And he's like, oh no, I'm playing an Enchanter. And then he threw his shield out, and that was the panic button coming out for Ron OP. Which, again, it seems just like a brain fart situation more than anything else, but does give quite a bit of credence over. Because, again, if you're playing the Caitlyn Lux, you want to really slam this lane, and you actually want to play for this. Because, again, you can weak side Jax. Yato's just going to be scaling up into a range versus melee matchup. Those 2 lanes are fine. They don't really need the assistance. Drakthar wants to come down here and help them. So if you set them behind, it's really hard to turn this lane state around if they've fallen down too much to begin with. So this would be your prime opportunity if you're Drakthar trying to find it before the back timer comes in from Saigon Buffalo's bot lane. But back in the middle, BJ on the bottom side helping cover. Not really pressed for all that much more.
Yeah, this you can even project this into the mid game now, because Rocky is going to be on the move way quicker than Yato. We know Silas, and Silas with Sejuani level 6 is an insane power spike. Looking at the ults you can steal, Lux, pretty nice. Artemis, okay. Yados is pretty good as well. Drakthas is really strong in combination with BJ. You basically have Sejuani and Vi together. And they usually fight against each other because you can't combine them in the jungle. So I'm kind of hoping for Saigon Buffalo to be explosive in the mid game. So far they've erred on the side of caution in all their games, being very slow to set up fights and mostly just playing very methodically. But in this game, with the winning bot lane with a super strong level 6 power spike, I think trying to play for Dragon Snowball could be a thing. But as I talk about that, it's actually Cerberus on the Dragon.
Okay, and BJ's here, could make a play towards bottom lane, and they find an immediate kill onto Caitlyn, it looked like. Yeah, that's going to be a play. They've traded back onto Taki. as that's going to be Ron P going down a second time. And it's going to prevent the dragon as well, because the lane is pushing, so it would have been 2 against Drakthar on that dragon, so it doesn't just being the 1-for-1, where it's Sejuani versus the
Froggy.
Caitlyn picking things up. And Froggy, I don't think was ever really concerned. He could have absconded over the wall and not really pressed about it. I will say, this Saigon looks way, way different than what we saw in game number 1. Like, every single player playing quite a bit differently. This was the play that came out.
Okay, Taki.
Wait, Chad. Yeah, okay, so what is your preferred verbiage for this situation? Because compared to game number 1, are they playing with more swagger or more je ne sais quoi? Like, you can pick the term that I'll put
What
here.
in the world is that second term? I have no idea
Je
what
ne
that
sais
means.
quoi? You never heard of that before?
It sounds French to me, but it sounds cool,
Hey,
so let's go with that.
Okay, they're playing with a certain je ne sais quoi that they didn't have in game number 1. So there's your word of day. I don't know its exact definition, but I know it means something to the type of
like
playing
chutzpah.
with more activity. Yeah, chutzpah, or like the cut of their jib is pretty nice today, like something like that.
What
right?
is happening
Here's Froggy,
here?
Mid lane play. Yato is just autoing to death because he's actually a marksman, but Taki's here with a shield. Taki, get him, Taki. Yeah, okay, they defend the dragon as well. Okay, that was pretty good. Ending up getting a couple of situations. That was really risky because there were a lot of members around for Cerberus, and yet somehow they didn't find the kill on Froggy, didn't find the dragon contest, didn't find a play yet onto bottom lane. They could still try if Ron P gets this wraparound right now.
There was a heist and a half, and now they can actually look at this mid-game power spike at this 4-dragon win condition, maybe. They stole this dragon away somehow. I need to see a replay of the bot lane situation, because how did Taki escape there? And where did Drakthar go? Why wasn't he close enough to the dragon? Really just walking away with the biggest steal of the century so far. What, Saigon Buffalo? Now in a decent position, but Froggy, he needs to be careful. He's walking the line. I like to see it. I think this team is best when they play riskily. But it's also concerning. But it's better to see them do a lot than do nothing, as in the last game, just slowly bleed out against the better team fighting team.
Yeah.
So,
it was actually really interesting. Drakthar had not taken a back until right now, which was a really delayed back timer. I think that was part of what cost them right there, whether or not it was him being stuck on the map. That's a really big ultimate coming through from there. They actually just chain CC, and Pun goes down to abilities more than anything else. Even if the counter-strike is up, you're not living that situation. I think at best you stun Hosbit under the tower, but it couldn't even get it off before the kind of chain CC came through. So it's just another big play for Saigon on the top side.
could have flashed the ultimate there. I think he could have lived if he flashed his Hasmed's ultimate, but decided to not go for that, and now Drakthar wasting time trying to chase Hasmed. Hasmed, oh, hello?
Okay, all right, and we're right back. He doesn't have level 6, so I assume it should be easy enough to actually get away, and this is the play. Yeah, Counter-Strike never came through. He got chain CC'd. Okay, so maybe he couldn't stun,
The
maybe he
execution
couldn't
was great,
Counter-Strike.
yeah. But I think if he flashes to the left side, he might be able to get away there, especially with Sejuani approaching from the right side, but we did not end up with Hasmed dying, I believe, so Drakthar wasting more time.
Artemis. Oh, I see. I can appreciate Shogun kind of pulls a fast one on Artemis. He just dumps into the wave so that they can actually just walk away. Opens up potential for BJ. There's no camps, and there's the blue buff on this side. And Artemis and Rado P just jump off immediately, knowing that they're not going to have that much. Taki, do be careful. I don't want you to run into two people. Yeah, that was an interesting trade because again, if these two stand in the tower. How did Yato get there? Yato is in the dragon pit, waiting to go. Scoops BJ, doesn't hit anybody, can't get Drakthar close enough for the ultimate. What is going on? You'll win. What is happening in this game?
I have no idea. We're back to VCS action. The last game was a little too boring for all the players involved, so they need to get in on the action. Only 4 kills so far, but some crazy plays. I have no idea what just happened. Why was Yato there? The dragon is not there for 2 more minutes. Why is he randomly just camping in the dragon pit?
They're maybe leaning towards the bot side because there was this massive push-up. It was really weird. It's like they expected Saigon's bot lane to be pushing that hard without jungle support, and then they found out jungle was there, and they're like, oh, man, how did we not think of this? And then, like, the Yato's down, ready to go. Drakthar's heading down to the bottom of the map. That is another push into the wall from Hosbed, who is just not getting bullied in any capacity by Pun in this laning phase the way you would want him to. So it seems like Cerberus is throwing things at the wall. Nothing is really sticking the way that they want it to. I do appreciate that they're trying to make things happen to some extent. It's really easy to get super passive sometimes. Cerberus has had that problem in the past as well. Shogun, please. These two are giving me panic attacks. Both of them are just walking in Aranopi and Artemis and not getting punished for it.
So I think the biggest difference so far from game 1 to game 2 is how much better BJ has been playing and how much more effective he is on this champion, right? On the Lee Sin, he was jumping and dying instantly all the time, and here on the Sejuani, even if he gets found out by Yado there, scooped back, he's still on half HP because Sejuani. And yeah, he just walks away easily, throws an ultimate just to stop Druktha from advancing, and this has really given Saigon Buffalo the early game they were looking for. Yes, Froggy's getting pushed into this Azir matchup, but he's still keeping up alright. He's 20 CS down, which is to be expected for the most part, but top lane is doing well, bot lane is doing more than well, especially expected if you compare expectations for this matchup. So yeah, Saigon Buffalo off to a 2k gold lead and an early dragon. Second one is coming up in 30 seconds, and they are resetting in time for it. So here is the next big turning point of the game.
I'm also now very afraid for Artemis and Ron OP. I was going to wait and see whether that Counter-Strike ended up leading to anything if Pun wanted to make a really aggressive play. You've got Yumus and you've got Swifties on your Jhin now, so you can just kind of run at people if they're squishy enough, and as long as they don't have CC, you're just kind of going to gun them down because if you found it at the beginning of the game. Taki can put them on top of people. BJ's got CC to get them on top as well. Notably, Rod of Ages now done as well for Froggy, so these first item spikes starting to come through from Saigon Buffalo ahead of time. Yado's not close. Draktar's not quite there either. Also not going for Radiant Virtue. It looks like he's building towards Sunderer, which is of interest with the Aftershock and everything else. So I don't know. I'm a little confused. Rift Herald coming through. That's going to be dropped on the bottom side. Going to get 2 turret plates. Maybe set up for Dragon as well.
Yeah,
exactly. Because Artemis and Draktar just kind of get stuck here. Assumably, no massive push from Froggy in the mid lane means that they might be kind of down a member, at least for a hot second. Until
something's happening in mid lane?
There's plenty of things happening right now. We're just going to ignore what's happening mid lane for the second, because why wouldn't we? And it's Cerberus kind of jumped off. They could have tried to shove back on bot side, but again, they know that the dragon is being contested, so they're just willing to dump and allow minions to jump in. There we go. Big play into Shogun. Can he get over the wall? No, he's just going to get CC'd to death right there. Props to them. Again, they dumped the massive wave on the bottom side. They know the dragon is the contest, and they're going to be looking for it. And now, again, with no mid lane, they can't move Froggy down. They don't really have the damage.
They don't want to give it up. They don't want to surrender this dragon. Okay, Ron P, calm down. What was that flash? Okay.
You can appreciate it. That's the OG Ron OP Enchanter style of gameplay. That's what we like to see. Can we get either top laner here, too? Because there is a TP available from Hospital. They're going to be able to find a stun up onto Yado.
Okay.
It's going to be the first build going down. Draktar's on the front line with Aftershock. He's going to live for a bit of time. Going to get rooted up as well. Can Froggy find some kind of play? Nope, the Abduct does not find him. Artemis does get dropped as well. But I don't think they get turned back into this. They don't get the dragon either, Yulway. It just ends up being the one kill traded back forth between the two. And Shogun's back. Can he drop the ultimate? Can he find the shots? Round up, he might die. Now Artemis might be in a really terrible position. Taki, can he clean? Can he find an ult Q? Can he get something here? Please, Taki, the support he can find. He gets the first one. Now Draktar in a sticky situation. Can Shogun get enough? Oh, Round up, he's just dying right there. And Taki, can he clean up the final kill? No. Okay, he's going to walk away, and Draktar finally gets out. What an insanely extended play where Saigon finally gets Shogun back, and now they can walk at Dragon.
So it looks like complete, and we go straight into the replay because we have 1 minute to get through, so we don't want to miss anything. It looks completely in from Saigon Buffalo. It's 4v3, but Yada with a crucial mistake walks into the CC, and now it's only a 2v3, which is playable, especially with Froggy being this strong. He forces Draktar out of the fight. Yes, he sacrifices his own flesh, but now they've delayed Dragon long enough for Shogun to make his way back, and Cerberus completely forgot about this play even existing, and then suddenly gets shot in the back with these huge bullets, and Taki is the Giga Chat he always was. Look at him go. I love Taki so much. He's such a fun player to watch, but Saigon Buffalo just trying to buy time, because their game plan was to play Dragon Snowball, and they really almost relinquished all of their control around the bot side. But just pushing on in a player disadvantage and making it happen. Now 2 dragons to the good and more than a 3k gold lead. So the first big opening in the game has been found by Saigon Buffalo.
Yes, a massive kind of swing now with their advantage. And the second dragon, which is the second game in a row now that they've gone for their massive dragon control. And in this game, there's not really much fight back anymore, because you do have Artemis on a decent itemization, no boots quite completed yet, just a ridiculous amount of AD with the BF sword alongside the Gale Force, likely going to be rushing for Infinity Edge on this patch. But outside of that, I mean, I think everybody else is just behind in this game. Nobody else has been able to do, accomplish anywhere near what they have wanted to. Not looking like the Cerberus from the previous game. It's going to have to be one of your OG Artemis V5 type carry situations, methinks.
Well, and for now, Saigon Buffalo doesn't really have to push for much. They can just wait for the dragons. We are Ocean Soul once again, which, yeah, you have Sejuani Silas, so that's not the worst option ever. I think Ocean Soul in this current meta is actually better than last year for the most part. I was a big Ocean Soul hater, but I've seen a lot of the tank compositions, a lot of the front-to-back team fighting compositions actually be very threatening, very dangerous with the Ocean Soul, so gives Froggy even more sustain in fights, even more to fight, even more time to get his rotations off, right? So should be a good enough option to win the game. So let's see if Saigon Buffalo can cleanly snowball this game into a dragon victory into Baron, and then probably just a 25-26 minute victory. If they can't do that, on the other side we still have Azir and Caitlyn, right? And Jax even. Don't forget about the Jax scaling. So Cerberus now firmly on the back foot, but there is some hope for them in the late game.
Your play-by-play caster is also a fool. I forgot that Black Cleaver builds out of very similar items to Sunderer, so it is actually not going to be Sunderer on the Vi. It's going to be Black Cleaver, which is an insanely good early buy, and then you can go Radiant Virtue, and then you do have this front line alongside Pun that can buy you a bit more space, hopefully get some space for Yato and for Artemis. That is a big hold space. Artemis just caught out of position, unfortunately. Ran up on a tower he had no business contesting in any way. Are we really jumping in right now, Dragon?
Yes, we are.
He presses
Let's go.
He's going to try to find that Sejuani. Flash over
Taki!
Taki, you are a Chad! As Froggy's going to come in with the Abscond Abduct, they're going to be able to kind of deny Pun any access back to the remainder of the lane, and there's no damage. It's just Ron OP. There's 4 members. Yato only just now entering, but Shogun is still full health. This tower is really close to breaking.
Where are we going?
Osmond now wants more smoke as well. Can he find anything? Pushed into the tower. Doesn't have the leap. Isn't going to be able to find the boomerang, but now Yato in a rough position. They do crack mid-tower. Ends up being a 3 for 2, which is a lot better than Cerberus probably deserved after everything said and done, but still a massive gold swing here for Saigon.
They've had enough. They've had enough of this boring-ass playstyle. They want to go in. Look at Taki play this game. Don't do this at home. Whatever he's doing.
He flashed like the distance of 2 Teemos too. Like look at this flash when it comes back your way.
It's a great start though. BJ really finding the angles here on Sejuani. A great jungle game from BJ, recovering after the first pretty disgustingly sim game. But keep your eyes on the Taki. Bam!
He flashes like 2 Teemos of distance, not even over the wall or anything. So if he flashes over the wall, the W still connects. Instead, he just wants to be on top of it. I think he might have actually fail flashed. That makes a lot more sense for the
Then Hosman is feeling himself a little too much here. Not entirely
Hosman's a Chad, okay? Hosman's a Chad. Again, the flash diagonally for basically no reason. We could have just flashed on top of Ron OP and gone for the kill, trying to find some escape angle, but again, push back with his ear. I love the attempted counterplay, the attempted save of the life, and just like going for a little more than you need to with the flash. But it's not punishing Saigon in literally any way, as they're still up 5k now.
This is the Saigon we know. We know they're a very good mechanical team. They're a very good skirmishing team, and it seems to be a little bit of a reversion back to their old style. Not quite as clean. A few mistakes here and there, and a few silly moments, but they're still 5k gold up, so they're still looking to dominate this game, and they are on such strong mid-game composition, such a strong mid-game composition. If you look at the Silas, if you look at the Sejuani, even Husmet now coming together, Cerberus really needs to avoid fighting at all costs, at least until Artemis has 2 items ready.
Yeah, earlier in the game, I believe the term I used was je ne sais quoi, and we're now going to use the term bravado as we have a fight on 2 fronts right now. Artemis getting gunned down, and Yato's going to be able to help disengage it, except Hosman comes in out of nowhere, and he's going to try to find some additional damage on the backline. Is Froggy, who tried to jump in with the additional ultimate, is going to go into Zonius, and now multiple members going down on both sides of the fight. That is a big play from Hosman. That's a big flank from both solo laners. That net 3 kills, the Dragon, everything that you could want on the side of Saigon Buffalo. Game 1 was so boring, and I'm so happy that this team was just like, yeah, we hated that. Let's just go back to gooning as much as possible. And they have done a great job of it, as they are now up 8,000 gold and a 3rd dragon to set them up for Ocean Soul in just the next couple of minutes. Yoey, this is the Saigon we've been waiting for.
Yeah, and this is the beauty of best of 3s as well. Where after one game you think, okay, this team can never win, right? They get completely annihilated by Cerberus in game 1, and then they change everything, a different jungler, a different mid, and it looks much more comfortable, so much better in the skirmishing. I do have to criticize Cerberus a bit. There was no reason to fight and posture this aggressively, especially from Artemis. Way too far forward, gets caught by 2 successive Bean J ultimates. That should never happen, especially on something as mobile, as far ranged, and as far removed from the enemy jungler as a Caitlyn. So definitely some flame has to go towards Artemis, but now Cerberus in an almost insurmountable position.
Yeah, we're running into 3-item territory for your Jhin. You're running into stacked Rod of Ages for Froggy as well. Like your Black Cleaver and Trinity Force is now completed on Gnar too. This is not looking good. And again, they're also kind of lacking the damage to get through the Sejuani at this point. BJ's on 3,000 health, and yes, you do have Leandries on Yato, but I just don't think that's going to be sufficient. Like you said, the only member who can save this game, a hero in the midst of the night, perhaps, is Artemis getting onto Infinity Edge. But Artemis has been playing so far forward on this champion. I think it'd be really, really difficult for the Caitlyn to continue to play as aggressively as they are and even utilize the damage, let alone anything else, as the gold lead is just surmounted to far too much. Also, side lanes are constantly getting pushed in. You can't really play against either one of the Sylas or the Gnar right now, and so you just constantly bottom and top or push consistently to set up for some of these neutral objectives. It gives so much more control to Saigon Buffalo, which is great to see.
And another interesting factor is, in a lot of games where one team is super far ahead, there is a clear target on the back of one of the players, right? There's a super strong AD carry or a super strong mid laner. That doesn't really exist here for Saigon Buffalo. If you use everything to kill the Jhin, who cares? There's still a Sylas.
Ragnar said, that's Baron, almost certainly, unless BJ just gets absolutely devastated. He loses half his health bar to a full combo from Artemis, but that's not going to be enough. That's probably Baron, to say the least. And Yato, if I were Yato, I wouldn't bother coming up here. I would just keep pushing, try to grab this tower, maybe try to push for even a second tower if possible. Pun is too far out to be able to grab anything. Outside of a Lux 1 in 100 kind of snag here from Rano, there's basically no chance. He's down to clown a little bit here. All right, Rano P, I'm down. You got a timer? Let's see what you got.
The flash.
He's got a flash. Oh, and you know what? The decent timing on it, but just not enough damage by any standard to do anything to the Baron. So Rano P cost the flash, cost everything, and still isn't able to make the contest happen. That should probably spell the end of the game here for the side of Cerberus. Saigon Buffalo has too big of a gold lead, has a Baron buff. They get set up for Ocean Soul. Too much resource that's potentially available for the squad.
Devastating snowball. And it's nice to see Saigon Buffalo playing this quickly in the mid-game, where their composition gives them the opportunity to just push forward, to go for super aggressive posturing, and yeah, they're getting everything on the map. Cerberus is left with too few resources to have any chance of a real comeback. Yes, they do have Azir Caitlyn, but they're so unbelievably far behind. They're going to face an Ocean Soul Sylas Sejuani in the next fight. And even the Jhin, as you pointed out in the draft, it's a much better Jhin game than the last one. There's no big Sion who's gonna just tank 50,000 shots per Jhin. And even Pan is too far behind to stand up to the Jhin for too long, as Sylas gets shuffled back.
Okay, but counter shuffle coming in from Froggy is they're able to find Yato. Yeah, he showed you how it's done right there. As that's going to be Drakthar also losing the majority of the health bar. BJ got cleansed up by Taki right there. Is Shogun, is he going to pop ultimate, try to push them back a little bit further? No, he's not. Instead, he just run into mid lane, try to crack that mid tower. Nobody's there for the defense. Makes all too much sense. I love that little no-you situation, because last game, Froggy was trying to play the massive engage. And Sylas is a champion that is fine doing that, and he does it better with the Azir ultimate. So, like, his Azir ultimates are really good, and he's on a champion that actually wants to engage, unlike the Azir, who's trying to be the primary damage of the last game. So, he got to live out his power fantasy from game number 1 here in game number 2. That's the Jhin ultimate. Putty's under real threat of dying here. Artemis is going to take too much damage. That is insane. Froggy couldn't quite get the chain to get into the backline. Now is actually going to get rooted up in a really bad position. Love the stopwatch, just try to break the tower aggro, but with the Baron buff minions in the base, certainly mid inhibitor going to go down.
Yeah, who cares about the Ocean Soul? If we can find another way to get into the base, why not just use the Baron buff instantly to break 2 inhibitors, potentially? At least 1 inhibitor and 1 inhib tower. So now quickly go back to the Ocean Soul. It's standard play. It's very nice to see Saigon Buffalo recovering after that horrific first game. And as you rightly point out, Froggy on champs where he's able to engage where he should engage is such a big deal, because his engage sense, his skirmishing sense is amazing.
Yes. It was the one difference maker that he had before he was like a pretty good laner, before he was a much more standard type kind of player. His champion pool and his skirmish presence was way too much. Hosmed goes Megadar at the perfect opportunity. He finds a decent ultimate, does get Drakthar, who's going to ult through it. They're going to be able to trade probably Hosmed. Actually, he gets out the backside of the fight, and now Pun on the other side trying to find something. Pushback is Shogun. How did Shogun get into a position where he is being pushed into the rest of the team?
Where's
Actually goes
Shogun
down
going?
as Pun goes down as well. Yeah, it looked like a flank from Shogun that just got punished really heavily by Yado, pushed him into the rest of the team. It is a 2-for-1 right now. Drakthar still alive to potentially contest the soul. It's just Froggy for damage for the most part as well. You do have to be very careful if you're Artemis not to get assassinated right here. But notice Hosmed does not care about whatever qualms you right now if you are Cerberus. They're stuck here contesting the dragon, but Hosmed's just going to win the game.
The
so
damage.
I don't even care about what's happening right here. They're going to jump in. They're going to try to buy some space for Artemis. That's going to be an ultimate coming in from Froggy to try to find Artemis, and that's going to be a very dead Artemis at the end of the fight. This doesn't matter. Again, literally nothing happening here matters in the slightest. I don't care about what's going on because Hosmed's literally winning the game on the other side of the map. It looks like Ronop was able to clear enough of the wave to maybe be competitive right now, but that's about all you've got. He doesn't have the damage to stop Hosmed in any capacity, especially after the Ocean Soul goes over. Yes, Hosmed did not win the game, but the game is won from Saigon.
Yeah, Saigon Buffalo really just confirming everything, and yeah, it's high-octane gameplay, a little bit silly from time to time. Shogun ending up somewhere where Jin does not belong.
Flanking Jin, I never thought I'd see the day.
Hey, he's trying to be Huan Feng from 2020 when he had all those amazing flanks. The reverse ultimate, I remember, from inside the enemy base. That was something.
Did we get the replay of it? Did we actually get the
I actually want to see what happened to him. Where did he come from? Okay, he
came from the back. He like almost assassinated. Oh, he did assassinate Ron OP. Okay, so there was that. Then goes into Zonia's, which just made no sense to me. I was wondering where the second person went down because I thought 2 went down on the front line, but I'm like, okay, Drakthar was the other one on the front line.
Yeah, look at Froggy, by the way. Froggy already used the Jax ult early in this fight, and Artemis thinks he's safe. Okay, we can't see it, but Artemis thought he was safe because the Froggy ult was already down, but then the Froggy ult came again. Really nice buffering of the... Ooh, Ronopi showing off some mechanics there. That was
very near Captain Jack. I don't think it was a perfect one, but it was very near perfect right there. But...
And it's harder to do on yourself with the Mikaels because you have to buffer it before the CC hits. You can't actually Mikaels in the CC as far as I know. So you have to do it slightly before the CC hits. Really nicely done from Ronopi. Gets away with his life.
That was probably a Captain Jack for a Mikhails, because I wasn't considering you can't actually hit yourself with it when you're CC'd. So he hit himself before it so that he got the extra tenacity so that he could walk away from it faster. That's actually genius. Okay, Ron OP. You failed in a lot of other aspects in this game, but I'll give you that one. You've earned that one from me.
And now we're just being a bit silly because this game is really over. But all right, they're too far behind. It's the Ocean Soul. Look at Beanjay's HP, and now factor in the Ocean Soul. He could just stand in the tower and just laugh at them for
fight. Okay, Pun, don't run away. You're a coward. Oh. Okay, Hosmed's gonna ruin the 1v1. Oh, he didn't ruin it yet. Okay, wait. We still have a 1v1. As long as Froggy is gonna be able to get this. Hosmed, don't you throw a boomerang or I'm gonna be upset. Okay, now Hosmed's gonna trade in and try to find Pun here, as that will be the Jax going down. Is this really that valuable? I feel like this is just them delaying the game longer than it needs to. Pun is actually doing a fine job making sure that Hosmed can't keep pushing.
I mean, look at the other side of the map.
You ran the wrong way.
They're actually just taking Baron in the meantime. Okay, it takes forever because they have Jin, so no actual damage on the Baron. They need to teleport in the mid laner. And Drakthar, I'm sorry, bro.
Drakthar is going to die immediately, so that's one down. Will they turn for Baron? Yeah, they're just going to turn for Baron, probably grab up the Baron buff and then walk it into the base. That's all that needs to be done, right? It's just a gentle waltz into the base of Cerberus to take us to game number 3.
I want to see Shogun's AD. What do you reckon? What is he at right now?
Right now, it's probably sitting at 500 right this second. It might be a little less than that because I'm bad at math, but I'm reckoning about 500. That's assuming that we can get our observers to actually show us.
Pretty decent. Look at the Jax build. He's trying to go all out. He's hoping for some miracle-based defense, and we had one today already. We had the absolute insane comeback from SPTC in Game 2. Go back and watch that after this broadcast, because that was something to behold. That was Kassadin XW. Yep. But it's probably not going to happen here, because they have way too many tools to just force their way into the enemy base, and there's no Kassadin on Cerberus' side, so
no, there's not.
I'm not really seeing it happening.
And even if you could attribute something like a Zir or Caitlyn to the level of scaling of a Kassadin, they just don't have that scaling yet. They're not there quite right now. They're not there, right? Down 14,000 gold. They don't have the itemization that the Kassadin was able to get to. I think Yada went Rabadon second and is going to be in the middle of the third item when we get to see the scoreboard next. Keep your eye on the bottom left for me, Yue, too, because eventually the Jhin will be the focal point most likely, but I'm not positive of that. We have 2 minutes until Elder Dragon. That flip could mean the one avenue that Cerberus has to get back into this game, but it's not a good one, but it is an avenue to try to get back into this game.
There is this 0.5% chance, maybe, just maybe, something weird happens, Bean J overpushes, Froggy oversteps and dies. You never know. I am a little bit disappointed in Saigon Buffalo's closing in the last 5 minutes. I think they could have been much more assertive and just used their ability to just literally run under the base towers, because there's one tower left in the whole game. Just take the inhib, and there we go. They're finally on it.
Okay. Easy enough, and able to kind of push everybody back. There's not much left sitting in defense of this Nexus. Now they're going to jump in. Drakthar is going to get pushed back, and the rest of the team going to go down immediately. Yada is going to get fired at. It looks like he puts up the Azir tower, pushes everybody away, but it looks like he's going to go down as well. Now Pun, can he make the Pun V9 happen? I don't think it's going to. He has to flash out immediately after jumps in. He regretted that decision real quick, and the bot lane's all that left, but they just don't have the damage. A much better game number 2 here from Saigon Buffalo. Takes us into game number 3 whenever we stop trolling here, everybody. All right, yes. All of you are very good at the game. Yes, thank you very much. Game finally wraps up.